Välkommen till Linköping! Hello, my weird and wonderful humans. I have just finished up a very successful day of science. Well, I say very successful. I managed to mix together chemicals without blowing anything up, and my cells are not dead. Yet. Eventually they will be dead, but because I killed them on purpose. Hopefully. But in the meantime, as I'm playing around with my bacteria and my immune cells and trying to figure out ways to cure disease here on Earth, I'm walking through the Trädgårdsföreningen, I think is how you say the name. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation, but basically it's the park on the south end of the Linköping University Hospital. This is the way I usually get home, especially when the weather is nice, because I find that sitting in a lab or in front of a computer all day is generally bad for my mental health. So, sunshine! Although it's still cold. So as someone with family in the US who's living here in Sweden, I've been thinking a lot lately about the vaccinations and distribution rates and how that's all working out, because it is a very different process depending on where you are in the world, which means, of course, that things are going to be changing at very different rates, which, while frustrating, is just the situation we're in. And while things are changing in different parts of the world at different rates, that means that our reactions to them are going to be very different. Well, I would love to take credit for all of the thoughts that are coming to you today. I cannot, because most of them originated from a man named Hank Green, who, if you don't recognize him as one half of the infamous Vlogbrothers, you might recognize as a pretty awesome author or infamous TikToker. Is infamous the right word here? I don't know, but his videos make me laugh. So not too far back, Hank released a video where he was talking about post-pandemic predictions, specifically about the human behaviors that we can expect to change or stay the same, the things that we want to see happen versus the things that we don't. And he laid all of this out along an X and Y axis that made a very cool sort of gradient map. But the thing Mr. Green missed, beyond the two-dimensional realm of his X and Y axis variables, there exists a third variable, our Z. Our Z is the amount of influence or control we have over our individual situations. And this is an important variable to consider. Let's take a look at our first two variables, whether we want something to happen versus we don't want it to happen, and whether we think it's likely to happen or whether we think it's not likely to happen. Both of these exist along gradients, and much like our X and Y, our Z variable, the amount of control we have over a situation, also exists as a gradient. There are things that are happening that are completely outside of the realm of our control, things that we have zero influence on. As much as I wish it weren't true, I can't stop the pandemic, I can't make people be nicer to each other, and I can't stop death. On the flip side of that, though, there are loads of things that are completely within my personal control. Things that are solely dictated by my actions. My personal risk of infection, the risk that I pose to others, the amount of time that I spend communicating with the people I care about. These are things that are solely within my wheelhouse of concern. But like with all things in life, the vast majority of these things fall somewhere in the middle. They fall within varying realms of influence. Some things we can influence minutely, and some things we have a great deal of influence over. Think of it this way. One of the things that I want us to continue to do, and think is likely that we're going to continue to do, is support small businesses. We saw this as a social shift before the pandemic started, and then, well, the allure of a one-click Amazon shop has definitely swayed more than a few. There are those who are refusing to go for the easy option and choose to shop small. This is something that, while I can't make other people do, falls squarely in the realm of my influence. I can choose to shop local. I can choose to favor small restaurants over chains and fast food, and I can choose to purchase things from independent providers when the option's available to me. Likewise, something else that I want to see us doing is supporting teachers, educators, and nurses. The people that we praised as heroes when the pandemic started, but did very little to actually help. most of their salaries stay the same and are disproportionately low compared to the cost of living in their areas. So as optimistic as I am, and as much as I would love to see us rally to support educators and nurses, realistically, I don't think much is going to change. And my own particular influence in this situation is extremely limited. There's not much that I can do on a personal level to change how different aspects of our economy are supported. I can help spread the word when bills are being put to vote to raise minimum salary for teachers. I can help support education reform and administrative policies that listen to the things our educators are telling. My mom used to have this saying, psalm, parable, I don't know, one of those. She said it all the time when I was a kid, and it's something that, as I grew into a moderately anxious adult, give me the strength to change what I cannot accept, the courage to accept what I cannot change, and the wisdom to know the difference. And it's that last bit, the wisdom to know the difference bit, that's always been the hardest for me. But it's also one of the ones that's always been the most worthwhile. Doggies! Hello! Aren't you cute? Yes, you are. Hello, little friendly. You're cute. I'm very easily distracted. That's gonna be a blooper. Recognizing our level of personal control or influence in a situation doesn't necessarily change the level of control or influence we have in that situation, but it can change how we process those things emotionally. It can change how we feel about the situation, how frustrated we can get, or how much a sense of ownership we have over a particular problem. And that's going to be an important thing to consider moving forward. Recognizing when something is outside of your control, recognizing what influence you do have, and recognizing the actions that you can take that help to put some of that control back in your hands. It's the wisdom to know the difference that helps us to be okay with these situations when everything feels out of our hands all of the time. Partially by recognizing that that's okay, and also by recognizing what power we do have. Okay. Stay. Okay, so here's the thing. Things are going to change. And they're going to keep changing. And then as soon as we think everything's normal again, they're going to change again. So this is going to... And as much as I hate to be that person, this is going to keep going. Probably for months, if not years. Things are going to change for different people at different rates. As different areas have higher vaccination levels, as other areas have new outbreaks and new variants. But as long as things are changing, and they're changing for all of us, we're all going to have to be a little bit patient with each other. Understand that even if you think things are safe, even if you think everybody you know is vaccinated, there will still be people and entire sections of your community that don't have that access right now. There will still be people that struggle. Things change. And they change more often than they stay the same. And if anything is going to be our new normal, it's going to be that. But as long as we can keep that in mind and be there for each other, as long as we can remember to be patient and kind and understanding, then it's going to be okay. We got this. Also, it's really cold out here. Ugh.